want her to live or do you want her to die?
Please!
You think I'm lying?
Welcome to Watch Mojo, and today we're counting down our picks for the top 10 worst MCU movies.
I don't know which is worse, but it's why I keep everyone at arm's length.
For this list, we'll be looking at the films in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that failed to live up to the hype and aren't nearly as entertaining as many other entries in this long-running series. What movie do you think missed the mark? Let us know in the comments down below. Number 10, Avengers: Age of Ultron.
Together. We'll lose. And we'll do that together too.
The overarching narrative of the MCU truly kicked into overdrive with this film. Unfortunately, this meant that Age of Ultron is more preoccupied with setting up sequels like Captain America: Civil War and Infinity War than being its own thing. Throw in an underwhelming villain like Ultron and you've got a film that excels in mediocrity.
Is that why you've come? To end the Avengers?
I've come to save the world. But also, yeah.
While certain elements like the chemistry between the characters and fight sequences are entertaining, the film is still more like a checkpoint before bigger and better things follow in later entries. Age of Ultron is also overstuffed with plot elements that go nowhere, such as the villain's identity crisis and the romance between Bruce and Natasha.
I can't be in a fight near civilians, and you've done plenty. Our fight is over.
So we just disappear?
It's a fun watch in terms of action, but lacks a strong narrative punch. Number 9, Thor. At the face of it, Thor is a sweet, smaller scale movie that introduces the God of Thunder. But for a franchise as big as the MCU, the lack of scope isn't in its favor.
Through your arrogance and stupidity, you have opened these peaceful realms and innocent lives to the horror and desolation of war!
Apart from Loki and Darcy Lewis more than Jane Foster, the supporting characters just don't make an impression. This contrasts with Iron Man and Captain America: The First Avenger, two other origin stories where the entire cast shines. While there is character development for the protagonist, it's not until late in the film that he sheds his unlikable traits.
And what is this newfound love for the Frost Giants? You could have killed them all with your bare hands.
I've changed.
Veteran actors like Anthony Hopkins, Idris Elba, and Rene Russo are also saddled with short screen times that don't do them justice. Thor's stirring soundtrack and eye-catching visuals remain impressive, but the film is overall easy to forget in the MCU's sprawling landscape.
How is she?
In the car. Come on, Jay.
She searches for you.
Number 8, Black Widow.
You're a coward. And our family was never real, so there's nothing to hold on to. We're moving on.
Natasha Romanoff's solo film is the right story at the wrong time. Released after fans had already seen her death in Avengers Endgame, Black Widow's plot doesn't have much bearing. With a generic villain like Dreykov and a predictable twist of Taskmaster's real identity, the stakes don't feel particularly high at any point. And while we all love Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova, her appearance in Disney Plus's Hawkeye feels like it carries more weight than in this movie.
It shouldn't have gone this way. If I was there, I could have stopped it. I could have changed it.
Nothing's gonna stop her, Elena.
Of course, it's also hard to overlook the times when CGI quality is inexcusable, as it pulls viewers right out of the action. Even with committed acting performances, Black Widow is presented as more of a side story, one that struggles to live up to its potential as a full-blown spy thriller.
I'll hold them off.
Let's
Fight better together.
fight. We are.
Let's go. Oh my God. Besides, if it can work out with the four of us, there may be some hope for the Avengers.
Number 7, Captain Marvel. Anticipation for Captain Marvel was sky high after the character was teased in Avengers Infinity War. But what we got was a film that failed to take risks beyond the MCU's tired and tested formula.
Witness says she was dressed for laser tag.
Oh. Yeah, I think she went that way.
With another Infinity Stone-fueled plot, bait-and-switch villains, and the customary MCU wisecracks in each scene, Carol Danvers' origin story is a mixed bag. Characters like Ronan the Accuser, Phil Coulson, Marvell, and Min Erva are pigeonholed to select scenes and traits without receiving the necessary room to develop further.
Killer, by the way. Oh, music. It's a nice touch.
Let me out.
No can do.
Possibly the biggest letdown is its lack of relevance to the Avengers movies, despite being positioned as a game changer. Ultimately, the film is saddled by the weight of past MCU films and never manages to tell a story that feels original.
I'll help you find a home. Finish what Marvel started.
Number 6, Thor: Love and Thunder. Director Taika Waititi was lauded for making Thor Ragnarok a hilarious and energetic ride through space. Sadly, many felt Waititi overdid the comedy for Love and Thunder, so much so that it seems more like a Ragnarok parody.
Asgard is not a planet, my sons. It is people. It is you. And now it is time for me to pass on to the spirit realm.
The film doesn't go a few seconds before throwing another joke at viewers. This is particularly jarring since it deals with Thor's loneliness and Jane Foster living with cancer. It's hard to take things seriously with screaming goats and bad CGI popping up at such frequency.
Astrid, your father gave you a very tough Viking name, and I intend to honor his wishes.
Axel.
Astrid.
I said Axel.
Astrid.
Axel!
It's asshole, now listen to him.
Fans were also disappointed that the Guardians only show up at the beginning of the movie, while Jane's role as Mighty Thor is cut short. Love and Thunder should have dealt with the protagonist and villain inner turmoil with grace, but treated it all mostly as another punchline.
That is not coming off. What did you do?
She looked boring before.
Yeah, I suppose it did. I love it.
Number 5, The Incredible Hulk.
Any last words? Hulk! Smash!
The Incredible Hulk was expected to improve on 2003's Hulk, but carries the same depressive outlook. The movie constantly shifts from one setting to another, following Bruce's escape from General Ross's clutches. Because of this, the Hulk himself isn't seen as much as he should have been. It's difficult to align it with the rest of the series since the tone and aesthetics don't match the standard template of an MCU film.
Blonsky, pull back now.
Is that all you got?
In retrospect, the Angry Green Giant's rage was probably best represented in his debut Avengers appearance. However, keeping the tension steady comes at the expense of the sense of fun the Incredible Hulk needed. We'd rather see the Hulk's signature smash than Bruce constantly stopping himself from turning into everyone's favorite angry monster.
We're gonna incinerate it. Is this the whole supply?
What? We could get the Nobel for this.
You don't understand the power of this thing. It is too dangerous. It cannot be controlled.
Number 4, Eternals. It's always difficult to introduce a new story to an established franchise, even more so for a bunch of characters the average moviegoer doesn't know about.
We're Eternals, from a planet called Olympia. We came here 7,000 years ago on the Domo, our starship, to protect humans from the deviants.
The MCU banked on brand value for Eternals, but ended up with a rare critical and commercial failure. The film tries too much at the same time, featuring a large roster of protagonists, none of whom get their time to shine. It wastes its runtime on exposition elements, resulting in a largely bland film filled with talking scenes.
We've trusted you for 7,000 years and look where you've gotten us. I've watched humans destroy each other when I could stop it all in a heartbeat.
The lack of a recognizable figure hurts its value further, as viewers have to follow characters they don't care about and don't ever grow to care about in the film's runtime. Eternals fails to balance its plot with action, and it's a real task to sit through 2 hours of this before the pace picks up.
But your memories will show if they are worthy to live. And I will return for judgment.
Number 3, Ant-Man and the Wasp: QUANTUMANIA. The Ant-Man series was best known for being high-style films with a comedic twist. After all, who didn't love Luis's trademark recaps?
And I'm like, damn, I got all nervous because I keep mad secrets for you, bro. So I asked Ignacio, is it the badass to tell the stupefied writer chick to tell you, to tell me, because I'm tight with Ant-Man, that he's looking for him?
But Scott Lang's third adventure removes all of Ant-Man's identity, leaving viewers with a by-the-numbers plot. The movie has a lot of weak points going for it. Things like King's betrayal and Scott's estrangement from his daughter are predictable parts of the story that the film centers itself around.
Don't listen to him!
No! Look, we can talk about this.
Don't do it!
You really should do it.
Instead of setting King up as the next big bad, the antagonist never lives up to the hype. And despite sharing equal billing, Hope Van Dyne doesn't even feel relevant to the plot. QUANTUMANIA was meant to be the multiverse saga's big setup, but fails to offer much depth at all.
You just saved the quantum realm with your family and drank a guy without holes. Why does this kind of stuff keep happening to you? That doesn't make any sense. But you know what? Who said life has to make sense?
Number 2, Iron Man 2.
Tony, look, I'm sorry, okay?
Don't be.
No, I should have trusted you more.
I'm the one who put you in this position. Forget it.
No, it's your fault. I just wanted to say I'm sorry.
Thank you. That's all I wanted to hear.
After the humdrum entry that was The Incredible Hulk, fans expected the MCU to bounce back with Iron Man 2. But what we got was arguably an even bigger disappointment. Blatant sequel hooks do nothing to enhance its appeal, and they certainly don't detract from the movie's flaws. Its greatest criticism comes from the lackluster villain, who fails to be a real threat.
All I have to do is sit here and watch as the world will consume you.
Where will we be watching the world consume me from? That's right. A prison cell. I'll send you a bar of soap.
Tony's arc of dying from a slow-acting poison dominates the story, only to be solved lazily by the climax. Iron Man 2 is filled with these stop-start moments, as other plot threads like Tony's issues with Rhodey and Pepper are just as easily resolved.
Weird.
No, it's not weird.
It's okay, right? Run that by me again.
I think it was weird. You guys look like two seals fighting over a grape.
Although the humor and action are on point, weak storytelling and the flop antagonist can't be ignored.
Before we continue, be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos. You have the option to be notified for occasional videos or all of them. If you're on your phone, make sure you go into your settings and switch on notifications.
Number 1, Thor: The Dark World. It's a stretch to call any MCU endeavor terrible, but The Dark World certainly comes close. The God of Thunder's second solo adventure drags through its runtime with an unappealing dark palette and an equally dull tone.
Risk this weapon falling into the hands of our enemies.
The risk is far greater if we do nothing.
The villain's lack of wit, emotion, and screen presence is abundantly clear, while the protagonist doesn't do much other than react to events around him. More charismatic characters like Loki are relegated to smaller roles, leaving the movie with few memorable scenes.
Perhaps you prefer one of your new companions, given that you seem to like them so much.
Oh, this is much better. Whoa. Costume's a bit much. So tight.
The Dark World expands on the Infinity Stones, but it's so all over the place that it's difficult to make sense of the lore. Even director Alan Taylor expresses dissatisfaction with the choppy state of the film, claiming his true vision doesn't appear in the final cut.
As I know I never will. The brutality, the sacrifice, it changes you. I'd rather be a good man than a great king.
Did you enjoy this video? Check out these other clips from WatchMojo, and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.